Not only let you keep your vehicle running smoother, stronger, and longer, it will also let you keep your base stock for at least 5,000 hours if you do regular oil samples and change your Kleenoil filtration cartridge. Mike Hopp with Power Up Lubricants is going to show you how.
Hello, thank you for taking the time to learn about Power Up Lubricants. Today we're going to use a demo machine called a Timken bearing tester. Now we're not trying to test bearings. What we've done is taken a Timken roller bearing, locked into this arm, and a Timken race. Both surfaces are case hardened to 63 on the Rockwell C scale. We're going to use this machine to create friction and wear and see how much a lubricant will stand up to extreme conditions. So we're going to start up here. Did you know that 80% of your wear happens during startup? At nighttime when you come home, you shut down your engine, all the oil drains back to the crankcase. So after 3 weights, we've punched through that case-hardened surface. Pretend that this is the crankcase on our engine, and we're going to add a good quality oil to that crankcase and see how much further we can go adding weights to this arm. We've given that bearing a good oil bath, so I've turned to a fresh surface on this bearing. Now remember, we seized dry at 3 weights. Any more weights that I get is due to the lubricating strength of that oil. We've gone 1, 2, 3, 4 weights, 1 more weight more than when it seized dry. And you can see we've punched through that lubricating film, leaving a significant amount of wear on that bearing. That is the reason why Power Up Lubricants created this product called NNL 690. It's formulated to cover the extreme operating conditions in your engine. Did you know that the professionals that put this donut on the back of your oil, in their handbook they state that in the average automobile engine you can get up to 180,000 psi of pressure. That's on your crank journals, your cam bearings, the really small contact surfaces that are hard to lubricate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Power Up additive, add in about 3 to 5% in our base oil, and you listen and be the judge. Now you can hear that this has already quietened it up significantly, and we have perfect lubrication between these 2 metal surfaces. And that's called hydrodynamic lubrication. Those 2 metal surfaces are hydroplaning. So we're going to start adding weight. Now, if you notice I'm slamming them down a bit, that could be your teenage son driving your car, causing a little bit of shock loading. Power Up will give you peace of mind that you have the protection you need while people aren't being so easy on your car. Now these are roughly 1 pound weights and a 30-to-1 ratio. But now this doesn't represent 30 psi because that's a lot smaller surface than 1 square inch of contact pressure. Now just suppose out of accident or fault you lose your oil supply. We don't suggest you run without your oil, but if it were to happen, Power Up would be there protecting your equipment. Power Up is being drawn to the contact surface there, and what little lubricant is left is giving the protection that we need. We're starting to get smoke coming up, and you're thinking, wow, that's getting pretty hot. And it is. We're going to add another harsh condition to this crankcase, antifreeze. Less than a cup of that in your crankcase will literally toast your bearings. Even in the presence of a major contaminant, you cannot break through the lubricating strength of Power Up. So let's stop now and have a look at that wear scar. You focus in closely, you can see that it hasn't gotten any bigger, it's just gotten nicely polished out. So we're going to remove our weight. Turn to a fresh surface on our bearing. And now remember, when we started out, we seized dry at 3 weights. Even in the presence of that major contaminant, a significant amount of pressure and friction, we're still not breaking through the lubricating strength of Power Up. Let's put on a little bit more weight. Let that run a little bit longer. Now we'll have another look at that wear scar. Now if you can focus in on that, it's significantly smaller than when we started with the base oil on its own. We're going to get rid of our contaminant and dry out our surface and show you that Power Up is an additive and that you have to replenish it when you do your oil change. Now you can start to hear that contact friction, and there, our bearing is seized. So I'm going to take just a little bit of Power Up, just get just a wetness on my finger, and dab it on. Just suppose you were a farmer in the field and you were combining the last round and you had that squealing going on in your pickup reel on your combine. If you had just a little bit of Power Up in the cab and you could get into that bearing, you could keep that bearing running long enough to get home and replace the bearing in the shop. Say you off-road guys are running around and there's just a little bit of shock loading on your rear diff. Power Up will give you the protection you need to make your components last and get you home. Today is the day that you should start protecting the equipment that you drive and see your nearest Power Up retailer.
Thanks, Mike. Isn't that amazing? Wouldn't you feel safer with Power Up in your equipment? Now you've got the secret that the big oil industry does not want you to know. You take these two amazing technologies and you combine them together, and you've got an amazing package. Take the Kleenoil bypass filtration system that you can reuse your base stock time after time. You take the Power Up lubricants, which gives you the power to keep great additives with your base stock. 1 + 1 in this situation equals 3 or more. You can save yourself time, money, oil, and our wonderful environment. Here's the math. On an average diesel vehicle traveling 20,000 miles per year, the regular oil change cost per year are $630. By combining a Kleenoil filtration system and Power Up lubricants, oil change costs per year are $378. The cost to our environment? Priceless. You can go a full year or 20,000 miles without changing your base oil. Now you've got the secret. Now you've got the knowledge. Now you've got the power to change it. Remember, knowledge itself is not power. It's applied knowledge that is power.